6 p.m. in Betua in the East region of Cameroon. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. First, our major stories. Heavy runoffs have killed two sisters aged 12 and 15 years old in a river in Bafoussam, regional capital. Both of them were swept away while they were carrying out laundry at the river. Still in Bafoussam, a man has stabbed his father to death. Reasons why he carried out the abominable act will be revealed in this edition of the news. And the production of palm wine, commonly called matango, takes a new twist in the Minkwamiyos neighborhood in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. In this edition of the news, you will discover a factory where individuals of bad faith make use of starch, sugar, and other chemicals to produce palm wine. The factory, dismantled by Shindam elements, follows several complaints from inhabitants about falling sick after consuming this product. Those are major stories. Stay with us for details and more. Thank you so much for staying with us on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast. For presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. Two sisters between the ages of 12 and 15 have died in a river in the town of Bafoussam as a result of torrential rains accompanied by intense runoffs that swept through, drowning the young girls. Still in the West region, Bambutu subdivision, a 26-year-old man is presently in detention for stabbing his father to death. Details of these stories with Malaglory.
Here lies the remains of two sisters, Belinda Florent Metsoten Defoe and Manu Ivan and Cognier. They are students of the government high school farm trades in Tungang 2 in the Bafoussam 2 subdivision, West region. They lost their lives while carrying out laundry in a river not far from home. As they were doing laundry, the rain started. We asked them to come out from the river because each time it rains, severe runoffs always flow from Hausa quarter. In the course of doing their laundry, a torrential rains accompanied by intense runoffs from other neighborhoods in the town swept through the river, drowning the teenagers. Immediately we saw the runoffs carrying dirt and other things. We called them to leave, but unfortunately it was late as the water carried them away. The two young girls were buried in the presence of friends and classmates, leaving family members devastated. Away from this tragic incident that occurred in the town of Bafoussam, we take you to Babete, a locality in Bambutu subdivision, still in the West region, where a 26-year-old man brutally killed his 70-year-old father. Local sources say he killed his father because he failed to provide food for him. After the unfortunate act, the young man was caught by the local population who attempted to render mob justice before he was being saved by security forces. Local sources also confirmed that he's been detained at the Mbuda Gendarmerie Brigade, while the father on his part has been placed at the mortuary.
We leave the West region to the Center region, where a factory that produces fake palm wine in Yaoundé has been dismantled by Shindam elements. The suspects say they make use of starch, sugar, and other chemicals for its production. Malaglory once more tells us more.
The process of tapping fresh palm wine being jeopardized by some individuals of bad faith at the Minkwamiyos neighborhood in Yaoundé Center region. In these barrels and gallons of several liters of supposed palm wine fabricated with the aid of starch, sugar, and other chemicals. After all these elements are well mixed, it is left to ferment for a period of 2 to 3 weeks. After being informed of the existence of such factory, security elements stormed the site.
Les populations de la ville de Yaoundé se plaignaient de différents malaises dus à la consommation d'un vin blanc naturel, communément
The population of Yaoundé have been complaining that recently they fall sick after consuming palm wine, so we decided to launch investigations, which led us here. We noticed that these guys use water carried from the well. It's really a pity. The producers of this dangerous substance got arrested at the Mokolo market while they were supplying the palm wine to their clients. The 4 suspects will have to appear before a competent court to answer for their crime.
And on to something else, the Faculty of Science at the University of Douala is still without sufficient practical and laboratory equipment to facilitate the learning and comprehension by students. Those to effectively impart knowledge to the over 8,000 students in the faculty that is 30 years old today are also insufficient, with most of them outdated. Innocent Azet tells us more about the state of this faculty.
The Faculty of Science at the University of Douala is 30 years old. Despite the vital role science plays in the emergence of water nations, in Cameroon this is hard to confirm because of the rope around its neck from the base.
We have a rising number of students but with limited facilities. Not only facilities for lectures, facilities for lab, for laboratory and for experiment and all those things. You know, Faculty of Science is typically an experimental faculty. So it is difficult to do without practicals. And this is really a constraint that we are trying to mitigate at the daily level. Challenge that has really dropped the numbers of the students that we had is the bad state of the road leading to Pekadisek.
Lecturers in this Faculty of Science at the University of Douala are leaving no stone unturned to train students with the required scientific or professional aptitude.
In every subject, the lecturers will try their best to do what we call a micromanagement, to evaluate at daily basis the students to make sure that the message or the competencies that we have in our curricula can reach the final destinations that are the students. And also at the government level, we're just expecting them to build facilities to equip our laboratories so that we can really increase our responses in terms of those requirements of the students or in terms of the requirement of the training of the students.
These challenges and expectations were revealed on the occasion of the 30th anniversary celebration of this Faculty of Science.
It's just like an evaluation in order to celebrate excellence. During this week-long activity, all the former graduates of the Faculty of Science will come back to reunion with their siblings to share their experience.
What they can boast of is graduating tens of thousands of students who are contributing in the development of Cameroon. What is most amazing to these lecturers is that their number has risen from 6 since creation to about 180 30 years after, with over 8,000 students.
Innocent Aze reporting there. As the international community commemorates the International Happiness Day, Cameroonians say there is nothing to be happy about. Cameroonians on the streets of Douala say that the increasing cost of living, rising unemployment characterized by hardship has made them unhappy on a daily basis. Femi Armstrong Sanda reports.
Proponents say that the International Day of Happiness is not just another date on the calendar, but a global movement towards a happier, more inclusive and resilient world. This objective is, however, not shared by most Cameroonians who say that there is nothing to be happy about in the country.
Donc il n'y a aucune raison pour un Camerounais d'être heureux à l'heure actuelle. Pourquoi on va être heureux? On va être content de quoi en fait?
There is nothing to be happy about in Cameroon. We spend a whole day without a reasonable income, while loads of charges await us at home. Tell me what a Cameroonian should be happy about.
Moi je me pose la question de savoir on va être content de quoi? Je n'ai aucune raison d'être heureux.
This other Cameroonian says that increasing cost of living in the country has pushed the reasons to be happy far off away from Cameroonians.
No, c'est pas heureux, c'est pas heureux.
I am not happy. The cost of living is extremely high and life has become very difficult with salary arrears and so on. The problems are not only general but sectoral problems, as the young people say that unemployment and joblessness is killing them slowly. I am not happy because we, the youth, are unemployed. Even after studying and having certificates, we still can't find something to do. However, some Cameroonians like him have reasons to be happy.
Ouais, je suis heureux. Je suis heureux parce que déjà je suis en santé. Je vis, il va dire que je vis bien.
The International Day of Happiness 2024 is a movement towards a happier, sustainable and a suitable world. At this time of uncertainty and conflict, this year's Happy Together theme reminds the world that lasting happiness comes from feeling connected to others and being part of something bigger.
And now we talk health in this newscast. Cameroon joins the international community today, the 20th of March, to observe the World Oral Health Day. Dental caries, periodontal diseases, and oral cancers are some of the dental conditions faced by children and adults in Cameroon. According to a dentist, Dr. Kilman Ford, this results from poor oral hygiene. A.C. Luciliengu with details.
Dental practitioners say tooth decay is the most common oral disease faced by 80% of children in Cameroon, with over 90% of adults suffering from other oral diseases.
The prominent one being dental caries. This is simply a hole being formed on the tooth as a result of bacteria. That we also have diseases such as oral cancer. Oral cancer is becoming so prominent and an object of consultation these days. Other health problems such as teeth sensitivity, dry mouth is also seen.
Consuming sugary foods, tobacco, alcohol, poor hygiene can cause a dental or oral disease.
What we eat greatly affects our oral health. For instance, we can consume like starchy, sticky food. This starchy, sticky food is going to form what we call a biofilm. So when this biofilm is being formed, that is the onset of dental caries. We could also have food like acidic food or citrus food. Also have strong alcohol with a high percentage, which easily burns up the mucosa.
On the occasion of the World Oral Health Day, dentists urge the population to pay attention to oral hygiene.
For you to take care of your oral health, you need to first brush your teeth every day, at least twice a day. You need to use what we call a dental floss, which is a thread-like object which you use to get rid of other food debris that may be stuck in between the teeth. Now, also talking about the meal, what you're supposed to eat that will be very healthy for the teeth, like fibrous food, because with that cleans up the teeth so well. Avoid too cold food or too hot food.
Patients are equally encouraged to visit their dental specialists for routine checkups to ensure that there are no pathologies.
I'll be talking detailedly about dental hygiene in the second part of this newscast. Now to sports. Eseme Alowede Emmanuel has continued his dominance in the 100 meters men's race in Africa. The sprinter picked up gold at the final of the 100 meters men's race at the ongoing Africa Games in Accra, Ghana, to maintain his great form in Africa. Smaji Kangable comes back to the performance of Eseme Alowede Emmanuel, who gave Cameroon a third gold medal at the African Games. His report.
Emmanuel Esemalugwede is undoubtedly the fastest runner in Africa at the moment. The 30-year-old sprinter has once again confirmed his supremacy at the 13th African Games in Accra, Ghana, as he grabbed the gold medal of the 100 meters men's race in 10:14 seconds. The 100 meters race winner almost abandoned the race.
Well, seriously, when I got here, I didn't even feel like to run because there's so many problems in the organization, so I had just 20 minutes of warm up. But at some point I had to think of all the Cameroonians who, were trusting me for this medal, were trusting me for this event. I just had to give in, I took the risk to maybe try to go without the warm up and the risk of injury, but thank God, I'm very thankful to God that I got out safe with no injury.
The sprinter says his strength came from the support he received back at home.
Just determination, I received so many messages of support from the Minister of Sports and Sports Nation, so I just thought if the country has so much faith in me, I just have to be determined and do what I'm meant to do.
The 200 meters race will be the next hurdle for the fastest runner who remains focused.
It's a long season, so we're studying for the 200 meters. What I can do is help my country to, have something, a good presentation to the 4x100.
Before winning the gold medal at the African Games, Emmanuel Esemealogwede won gold at the Francophonie Games recently for Cameroon. Emmanuel Esemealogwede finished third at the Diamond League in Poland, which gave him the courage to come for the African Games. Eseme is contracted to Portuguese club Sporting Lisbon as a sprinter. At the time of this report, Cameroon is ranked 12 on the classification table with 23 medals, 3 gold, 2 from weightlifting and 1 in the 100 meters race. 12 bronze.
Cameroon! It's already 4 years since Cameroon won the first Africa Cup of Nations in Côte d'Ivoire. Several years after the first win that saw Cameroon picking up 4 other titles later, our reporter Smaji Kangable met with some key actors who participated in the 1984 Nations Cup. Bel Joseph Antoan and Isaac Sikot takes us back memory lane to tell us about some fun memories they had during that encounter that made them the first trophy for Cameroon. His report.
The African Cup of Nations 1984 was the turning point for football in Cameroon after past defeats in the continent.
After 1972, people really disliked the team. They were like, our national team has never won any game, not any trophy, but any game. So at any game, we were just ranked underdogs. The likes of myself, Roger Miller, Tofila Bega, Gregoire Mbida, Ndumbeleya, Francois, Awudu.
The Lions went through tough times in the hands of supporters because of their poor performance.
We were coming to training singing the songs of 1972, which was very, very, very horrible for people. But we tried to embody that and suffer and tried to overcome the feeling of 1972.
The insult from the supporters gave courage to the Lions, who went to the AFCON in 1984, more determined than ever.
1984, I remember we were looking at ourselves and we were saying, this is ours. Our eyes were saying this is our last chance to do it. And we have to do it, because if we don't do it, it will never happen again.
At the finals, Cameroon defeated Nigeria 3-1 to get their first continental title. What was the difference in that team of 1984 and that of today? The difference was that at our time, everyone played at home and we understood each other. Each player must have had at least 4 seasons with his club, and changes of clubs weren't as we have now. 40 years after the first title of Cameroon, the former players are now calling for more seriousness within the indomitable Lions for more victories.
A nostalgic feeling for Cameroonians 40 years after winning the first Africa Cup of Nations. And still in sports, Bel Joseph Antoan has blamed the poor performance of the indomitable Lions in Côte d'Ivoire recently to the lack of preparedness and lack of team spirit amongst the players. He made a declaration in an exclusive interview with Smaji Kangable. Take a listen.
Not surprised, and anybody who watched carefully couldn't be surprised. You cannot come to Côte d'Ivoire saying we are those who won in 1984 and you don't pay any respect to those who won. You people didn't even say hello. So how can you come and say you are me when you cannot even greet me? No, so it wasn't surprising. What it means is not that if you don't say hello you are not going to win the game, but it means that you did not plan well. Because if you want to refer to the past, then refer really to the past. You cannot just come and refer to the past just by saying some words, and not in your behavior there is no relation to the past. This is a great mistake. Who is the past president of Côte d'Ivoire for us? Who are you visiting? Is it? He won the cup. We took the cup, not him. We took the cup from him. How can you go and visit him? Why? This is a political behavior that does not mean anything in football. And then this is even the opposite of what you are doing. You cannot come as Cameroonians and you are going to see somebody's father and say, let me beat your son. And you saw what happened. Côte d'Ivoire, they won. You see what happened? So take care of what you do when you are in the symbolic world. The team spirit is above everything when you want to win, because a winning team, a winning side is not just putting good players alongside of others. No, it's something more than that. So, and this more than that, you can't touch it. This more than that, you feel it. It's more than that, is something you have to build by your attitude, and attitude is everything.
And that's where we'll put an end to this first part of the news. Talking Point is up next. Thank you so much for joining me on Talking Point tonight. Today, Cameroon joins the world to commemorate World Oral Health Day. And so tonight, I'll be receiving a guest, a dentist. He will tell us more about dental hygiene. Good evening, Dr. Clement. It is a pleasure having you on Talking Point tonight.
Good evening, Immaculate. Good evening to all the myriad televiewers of Equinoxe television. It's an honor for me to be on Talking Point this day.
Doctor, how often are we expected to brush our teeth, and what's the proper way of brushing our teeth?
Thank you very much, Immaculate, for that question. We are supposed to brush our teeth at least twice a day. That is the morning after breakfast and in the evening before going to bed. That should be one of the last things that you do before going to bed. Why should you do so? Because during the day you eat a lot of things and it gets stuck in between the teeth. So you need to make your mouth free from these food debris so that the bacteria you have in the mouth should not have a substrate to feed on, thereby causing caries. And you may mention of how should we do that. Many people say, I brush my teeth, I brush, but the proper way of brushing is not respected. So how should you brush? This is a model I have with me here, and I'm going to demonstrate that. This is a toothbrush, which is so when you want to brush your teeth, you start from the gum right down to the teeth. So you do a strike from the gum right down for the maxillary, and similarly for the mandibulary, a strike up, so that the bristles of the toothbrush can go in between the interdental space. Similarly for the inner part. And the biting surface, you do what we call a back and forth movement. And with this, you are sure that all the parts are clean. Not forgetting the tongue. My mother doesn't have a tongue, but with the tongue, you do a front and back movement on the tongue. The tongue harbors a lot of bacteria, and also it's also rough because it contains papillae. So we need to clean in such a way that the tongue is free from any remnants of food or anything that may get that must have gotten stuck on the tongue.
Now, Dr. Clement, does the type of toothbrush we use matter, and how often should it be changed?
Yes, the type of toothbrush we use greatly matters, because we have people who use toothbrush since that what we call the bristles are too hard. No, you shouldn't use that. The toothbrush that you should use should be supple. And should be able to go through the interdental space. And remember that when you use a hard toothbrush, you injure the gums. You see some people brushing, you see a lot of blood coming out from the gums. It's not normal. Or people brushing, after some time they have teeth sensitivity. It's because the toothbrush was so hard, and that brushing costs a lot of wear off on the enamel of the teeth. So you should use a soft bristle toothbrush. And how often should you replace your toothbrush? Normally, the bristles are supposed to be straight up, looking up. So if it happens that it starts looking east or west, you have to change that. We always say in 3 months, normally, you're supposed to change your toothbrush.
Talking about east or west, is there a difference between brushing the teeth and flossing?
Yes, there is a difference between brushing the teeth and flossing. Brushing is just the technique I've just shown now. Now for flossing, you need to use what we call a dental floss. I brought an example here to show. It's just a thread-like object that you take. It will permit you to remove all the food debris that may get stuck, let's say a chunk of meat or whatever that may get stuck in between the teeth. So with this, you are able to go into the interdentral space and remove everything that might be stuck there, because the presence of this meal between the teeth would cause what we call periodontal diseases or even periodontal pocket. So the dental floss is very important, and flossing itself is very primordial.
For those who know how to brush their teeth and they respect all the rules you just mentioned, why is it important to visit a dentist despite knowing all of this?
It is very important to visit your dentist at least once a year, because we could have the onset of some diseases that you might not know, especially dental caries. Say dental caries is formed by plaques on the teeth. When I say plaques, it's a combination of food. Then it would gradually dissolve the enamel. When it dissolves the enamel, at its incipient stage, you cannot know. You might be brushing so well, doing flossing and everything, but when that hole is formed, it's only the dentist who will be able to diagnose it early enough and take a prompt measure to stop the onset of that disease. So it's very primordial for you who thinks, well, my oral hygiene is good and everything is good, just come for consultation. Then your dentist will do a proper check and give you health advice which you would definitely need.
Talking about tooth decay, how can we effectively prevent bad breath and tooth decay?
Okay, bad breath, which we also call medically halitosis, is that unpleasant smell that comes from the mouth, and we could also have that coming from the digestive tract. Our colleagues, the physicians, they will take care of that. But the one that comes from the mouth can easily be solved. First, you need to brush your teeth at least twice, like I said. Secondly, you need to use what we call an antiseptic mouthwash, which has a refreshing property. With that, it will permit you to switch all through the mouth and give you a refreshing breath. And if this mouth odor persists for a long time, then it is pathological. You come to the dental office, we will do what we call a professional cleaning, scaling and polishing of the teeth, and even root planing. So with this, it will greatly remove this halitosis or this bad breath.
Now, the new trend now is teeth whitening. Tell us more about its side effects.
Okay, teeth whitening, really, it's more and more becoming an object of consultation these days, because people want to have their teeth very clean and not only clean but shining because of what they see. So teeth whitening, what we do with teeth whitening, we apply a certain gel on the teeth, then we bring our UV light and concentrate, and it gives a whiter appearance on the teeth. Now for teeth whitening, it is only done when there is an indication for it, when there is that dyschromy really observed. You shouldn't just do teeth whitening because you want to do. One of the side effects recorded, which is so minimal, is teeth sensitivity after this whitening. You know, we put this corrosive substance and we concentrate the light. Really, the enamel, it's a little bit weighed off. So teeth whitening should be done, I repeat, when there is a need. So if there is no need, please, we shouldn't do that. And you should appreciate the color of your teeth, and the color of your teeth greatly matches with your skin color. For the whites, they have whiter teeth. For us, we have a more yellowish color of the teeth. So when patients come, we always try to tell them that, well, you see this way, don't try to compare. This one will be good for you. If not, you might have some teeth sensitivity, you might have gum irritations and all whatnot. So that's what I can say about teeth whitening.
Thank you, Dr. Kelman, for accepting my invitation. And that's what put an end to today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for your keen attention. Have a wonderful evening in the company of more interesting programs on ETV. Up next is Equinoxe Soir. Stay with us if you can.